Hello, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from New Zealand. And today I would like to show you how to make a really cute fun fold card. It's called a sidestep card. So it folds flat like that. You got the front and the back, but the side looks like there's a step to it. So when it stands up, it stands like that. And when you're viewing it, you get like the 3D effect. Oh, it looks cool with the shadow. So I want to show you how to make this cool card using the Zany Zoo collection of products from Stampin' Up! We got the Zany Zoo stamps, the Zany Zoo dies, and the Zoo Crew Designer Series paper. So before I show you how to do the card, I want to show you the really cute paper. So this is the Zoo Crew paper. It's 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. And before I go any further, in the description I will list all the products that I show you in this video with the product code. So if you want to order any, just contact your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator to order. If you're in New Zealand and don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you can go to my website, michellekritchley.stampinup.net, and click on the Shop Now to see the products, and you can order directly from me or contact me if you want some more information. So this uses some of the paper in this design and some of the images. So with the paper, it's 12 by 12 inches. And so it's kind of a recurring image on one side. So you get 2 sheets of each in your pack. And so for this one, it gives you kind of a forest theme with the hiking and everything. And then the other side is a black and white flowers, which are really great to color. The end of the video, I will show you some other cards that I've made with this product so you can get some ideas of other things to make. Then there's a sheet that's more music themed. So we have accordion, singing, ukulele, bongos, flute, and lots of music notes there. And the other side of that is black and white spots. So kind of like a cheetah spots. Which leads us into the next one, which actually has a cheetah on it. So this is the ballerina dancing sheet. So we have, I think, 5 different characters here dancing. And if you, I forgot to mention, but as you notice, some of them, they're partially colored. Some are colored more than others, but there's little parts of them that are not colored in. So that leaves it open for you to add your own color to match any of the designs that you want to use, or leave it the way it is. And on the other side here, we've got some lines that kind of almost look like fur to me. And then we've got one that's a birthday party theme. So this sheet here, we've got all the birthday party characters here, bringing presents, juggling with cupcakes, some balloons, and all kinds of interesting images there. And on the back, it's now black and white, but it's got like stars with the black background. And then we've got, let me show you this one first. So then we've got this one here, which is outdoor transportation theme is what I call it, because we've got roller skates, scooters, bicycles, big scooters, single wheel, and all sorts of things going on with the animals here, like big busy metropolis. Kind of reminds me of some of the books when I was growing up. The Big World by Richard Scarry had a lot of interesting images like this. And again, some are colored a lot and some are colored very little, so it's up to your interpretation if you want to add more color to them. The back side of this is black and white stripes, which, ooh, can really do your eyes in with that one. And zigzag stripes. And then this one I think is sort of the odd one out. This I consider like the home economics theme, basically. We got some knitting, some reading, some cooking, some relaxing, some painting, all going on in this. And again, partially colored, so you can add your own color to them if you want. And the back side of that is black and white with some like squiggles on it. Now, those images are great for background pictures, or you could fussy cut them out. However, with the dies that come in this set, the the Zany Zoo dies, rather, there are images that cut out the designer series paper. So if you are new to Stampin' Up, it's something they started a few years ago where they have dies. They generally have dies that will cut out images from the stamp set. So there's a die that cuts out these 6 images here that you could stamp, and then you could color and you can die cut. But those dies also cut out matching images on the paper. And I will just show you which images it will cut out. So on this one, we've got a die that will cut out our skunk that's got his little binoculars. And the way you can tell is because there's a stamped image that matches it. So it'll cut the stamped image, which happens to be that exact size. So if you don't want to stamp it, you could simply put the die over the paper and cut that out. The next one is our singing turtle. So there's our turtle singing, which also cuts out the stamped image on there, which is the one that I've already colored and die cut to use in the card that we're going to be making. And then we've got the next sheet, our ballerina. You can probably guess from the card, it's going to cut out the cheetah. So here's our ballerina, and it cuts the cheetah out. So you could either stamp and color it, or you could just die cut it straight from the paper. The next one is the raccoon with the balloons. So here's the die there, and you can cut your raccoon with the balloons with the die. All the other images, if you wanted them cut out, you'd have to fussy cut them. So just scissors and cut away. This one, it's I think it's a crocodile. He's got a long pointy nose. I think that's crocodile. I'm not sure. I can't remember which is the difference, crocodile or alligator. But cut that out, or you could stamp and color your own and then die cut it. And the last one, the image you can cut out is the llama doing some knitting. So there you go. Cut out your llama with the knitting. Now there's also a few other dies in this set that are quite good for extra emphasis on your cards. And so you can add extra bits for all the themes. So there's a tree that would go great with our forest theme. We've got clouds that would go with the forest theme. We have some flowers that would go with any of them. We've got a little table and a little pot that can hold some tiny tulips that would go nicely with this one here. So there's all these extra little dies that you can cut cardstock to add to your designs that you make, and I will show you some cards later on using that. So put all that aside, and we will get into how to make the sidestep card. So this sidestep card is using a few of the new colors, new Stampin' Up! Colors. So the background of the card is the lemon lolly cardstock. So I'll show you how to cut your card, cut and score your card, because that's always a good thing to learn how to do. And then you could, you could use this size to decorate anything you want. So for this one, you need a piece of lemon lolly cardstock, and we're going to use half the sheet. So we're going to make a standard card. Here in New Zealand, we refer to them as A6 size. We use the metric system here. So if you're in another country that uses imperial, basically it's the same size as a normal card. It folds down, fits in a regular envelope. So you start with your full sheet, which here it's a A4 sheet, and we're going to cut it in half on the long side, which is about 14.85 centimeters. So I put it just between the 14.8 and 14.9. And so you're going to cut that in half. So you can make 2 cards out of 1 sheet. Then, using your trimmer, you are now going to cut a slit. Now you don't want it the full way through. So the best way to do this is to go over to the 9 centimeter mark here on the side, and then you want to cut it from 3.5 centimeters to 14 centimeters. Oh, sorry, told you the wrong thing. Turn it the long way, this way around. You go to the 9 centimeters here, so that's 9 centimeters there, and you want 3.5 to 14 centimeters. Now, if you're using the trimmer and you're going to do a lot of them, which I am because I'm preparing this for a class that I'm going to be teaching. There might be about 50 people there doing this card. So what I did is I took some washi tape and I just put the tape right up to the 3.5 centimeter line and then down to the 14. Now, if you're saying, I've got the trimmer and I've only got inches on here, that's because the trimmer comes with a ruler that has inches. You can buy this metric ruler separately, and it's quite easy to put in. You just pop out the end up here and the one down at the bottom, and you can replace your one that has inches with centimeters. So if you are in a country using inches, simply look up at the top because you got the metric, the centimeters and the inches to figure out what the inch comparable would be. So 3.5 centimeters is about 1 inch and 1, 2, 3/8. Okay, and then 14 centimeters is 5.5 inches. So if you're trying to convert it, just use your ruler to do it. That's the simple way. You could look it up on Google if you want. So I've marked at 3.5 to 14. So put the paper in, skinny side up the top, butt it right up against the 9 centimeters on the one side. I'm trying to get this into the video. Okay, and then I'm going to, I'll just show you this quickly. See the slits on the cutting blade? So there's the little lines on either side and those sides there. That shows you exactly where the blade is going to cut. So if I line that up right onto the edge of the washi, that's at 3.5 centimeters. So if I open it up, put it back to my 9 centimeters, close it, it's right at 3.5 centimeters. Now it's not going to cut till I put pressure. So I haven't cut anything until I push it down and put pressure on the blade. And then I'm going to put pressure on the blade. And I'm going to slide the blade without moving the paper up to the 14 centimeters. So slide it up to the 14 centimeter where that little line that I showed you matches the edge of my washi tape. Okay. So I brought that right up to the 14 centimeters. Okay. And then you open it up and you now have a slit in the middle of your card, right where we want it, 3.5 centimeters to 14 centimeters. Move the cutting blade out of the way, and now I want to score it. So I want to score 3.5 centimeters, so bring this in 3.5 centimeters, but I only want to score it up to where I cut. Now I could pull it down here to where the cutting is, or if I turn it around the other way, yeah, that way. If I turn it around the other way, put it to the 3.5, I can pull the score tool, which is a different color, up to the 9 centimeter mark because I know there's 9 centimeters on that side. So hold that down, press it, slide it up till the line comes to 9 centimeters, and slide it back. And that gives me the score line where I want it. Except I just realized I scored the wrong side of the card. Hold on a moment. Okay, we're going to try that again. Okay, so 9 centimeters. No, that's right. Hold on. I want to score the skinny side, not the long side. that's the wrong side. I want to score the skinny side here. So disregard what I just told you. Again, we got the 9 centimeters here, we got 3.5 there, but we want the score to come here up to the 9 mark there. So we're going that way because we only want to score the skinny side. So we go up to the 9 and we bring it back. That's what I wanted to do. That's score line. Then I want to score at 7 centimeters. So bring this over to 7. We've got the big 9 centimeter side there. Again, we're scoring up to the 9 centimeter mark on the ruler. Now, if you're finding this difficult, you can just take a pencil and measure it all out to mark it up. And then we're going to come up to 14. And the same thing, we're going to score on this side up to the 14. On the 14 up to the 9. So you end up with 3 score lines, 3.5, 7, and 14. Okay, now we want 1 score line on the big side at 10.5 centimeters. So here we're keeping the 9 centimeter thickness on that side, and now we're going to do 10.5, which is going to be the center of our card. And this time we're going to bring it up to the 9 centimeter, which will be the slit line, and back. Okay, so we've got 1 here in the middle, and we got 3 on this side. So now you simply just need to turn them into mountain folds. So the first, the last, and the middle one turn into mountains, and that automatically pushes that center one there down into a valley. So that's turning your fold into mountain folds and valley folds. And then just hold it down, get your bone folder out, and just give yourself a good burnish. And there is your side step done. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3 mountains on the side and 1 valley there. Okay, there we go. Now we got that card done. Now for the back, for the rest of it, is relatively simple. We have got 1 piece to pop in the back to fill in this section here. If you want, you could cut, an extra piece for here, but I just made it simple. So this piece here is 8.5 centimeters by 10 centimeters. And I just want to stamp the words, Happy Birthday to You on the back in Memento Black. I'm doing all my stamping in Memento Black. If you want to, I've colored mine with pencils, my images, but if you want to color them with blends, you definitely need Memento Black so it won't bleed. So I'm just going to pop a little Happy Birthday to You in the back. And then while I have the ink out, there is a die that cuts a banner shape. So I cut a green banner shape. And we're going to put the words, You're Too Wonderful, and we're going to put some of the music notes stamped on it. And that makes it look like the turtle is singing. I've just got some scrap paper, so if I go off the edges. So again, same ink. Just going to stamp the words, You're Too Wonderful. Yep. And then I'm going to stamp some of the music notes. So just going to go around and try to get as much as I can on the green card. And just try to place it where you can. And maybe one down there. Now, if you want, like that looks like I need a music note there, what you can do is clean your stamp and then just partially ink it up. So, clean my stamp, there we go, clean my stamp off. And so I'm just going to ink up the bottom 2 parts. And so I'm just going to hold it over the ink pad and just ink up the bottom two. And just check that I've only inked up the bottom two. And then I'm just going to stamp that right there. So now I've put those two here and I didn't stamp over the words. Okay, so I'm happy with that now. And that's all the stamping. So you would also stamp your images or die cut them out of the paper. Now I've already done that. I've stamped a ballerina and a singing turtle, and I've colored them with the watercolor pencils. You could use some water to blend in the colors, but I wanted them to look more pastel pencil colored. So I die cut those already. And the other things, so I'm going to stick this on the back. Just grab some tape. And then the other colors you want to use. So I used the lemon lime twist for the banner. And you also want some extra lemon lime twist to do a balloon and some little tiebacks for the curtains, for the sash of the curtains. And then also I used Petal Pink to die cut the curtains and the little sash at the top of the stage. So I'll pop that down there. And then on the front, one other thing I didn't mention is you want to cut one of the pieces of designer series paper. So I did the back of the musical one. It's 7.5 by 7.5 centimeters, which is 3 by 3 inches. That'll fit here. And then you want one of the strips for the bottom. I chose to go with the black and white strip, which is the back of the house, the economic type home section of the designer series paper. So I cut that at 2.5 by 14 centimeters to fit down the bottom here. And I also cut a piece of vellum to fit in this section here, which is 5.5 by 6.5 centimeters. And I used the Merry Melody embossing folder. So that's 5.5 by 6.5 centimeters, that piece of vellum. And I used the Merry Melody embossing folder. So it's got all these music notes on it to emboss that. And I'm going to use that to stick it into that part there. So I've already got my curtains die cut. So I cut it twice. There's one die, you cut two, so you get 2 curtains. I also cut myself a balloon, and then this is like the curtain sash at the top. So I cut that, that was 1.5 centimeters by, let's see, that comes out to about 12 centimeters, and that's one die that cuts the whole thing. And I then cut this balloon and 2 of the curtain tiebacks. There's one die that cuts both of those little tiebacks. Now looking at that, even though I tried to cut it straight, I can see it's slightly crooked, so I'm just going to trim it so it has a straight edge to it, because right now, if you look at that, you can see that edge is kind of sloping. So I'm going to trim that, and we'll carry on. Okay, so I straightened that up a bit. And so for this piece, you want to, what I call concertina fold it, or accordion fold it. So right where the edges are, where the curves go, where the curves come together, just fold it over and then fold it back onto itself. So you're just coming back and forth and back and forth. Let's see. You could score it beforehand if you want. put a little score between each of those, make it easier to fold, but I'm just going to show you quickly on the video. So back and forth, hopefully you can see this. Hard to fold and look through the screen at the same time. It's back and forth, back and forth. So there you go. So now that makes it shorter, because originally if I put it on there it's too long. So you could just glue it down flat if you want, but I did that because it gives it a bit of interest. If you're going to send this in the mail, then don't do that because you won't be able to fit it into your envelope. But if you're not sending it through the mail, do that to give it some interest. And let's get some glue out. So on the curtains, we want the little tie backs. So there's a cute little die that does the cuts, does both tie backs in one go. And so we're just gonna glue the tie back on, coming back. So if you're not familiar with curtains, that's the little part that, you know, when you pull the curtain back, it holds it out of the way. Okay, and then I'm going to put this other one on. Sometimes it's difficult to get too much glue on there. Other thing would be is if you put some double-sided tape on the cardstock before you put it through to die cut it, then you'll have adhesive on the back. Okay, so there's my curtains. Right, now the curtains seem to be symmetrical on either side, so it doesn't matter which way up you do it. See, that one, the tie backs are going the wrong way. So when you put the tie backs on, make sure you have them sitting like this, otherwise you're going to end up with tie backs going the wrong direction. Okay, now before I stick it all together, I want to put some color on this background piece. Now this, I made it square, so it doesn't matter which way round you have it, but I'm going to add a bit of lemon lolly with ink with the blending brush, just to make it look like there's a spotlight in the background. So I don't know if you can see there. See, there's a bit of yellow coming down, so it looks like there's a bit of spotlight. I just want my scrap paper, so I didn't get ink all over. And you could add a little, you know, hint of ink to any of the other pieces if you want to give them a bit more depth. So I'm thinking this looks like a good way to go. So just rub your blending brush. I'm using the mini blending brush on some of the ink. Pick up some of the ink. And then I'm going to come down from the top, just as if there's a light coming down, shining behind our ballerina. And you start off the page so you don't want to end up getting splotches in the wrong place. Okay, so that's, I think that looks okay. And bathe our ballerina in spotlight. Okay, so our ballerina is going to be sitting there and the light's coming through. So you don't need a lot, just a little bit to give some interest. And now I'm going to stick things down. Another thing that I forgot to mention that's not a Stampin' Up! Product is a wobbler. So I've got a wobbler to make little ballerina move. Okay, so I will get the package out and show you what it's called. I know where you can get it locally here in New Zealand. In other countries, I think you'd need to look it up. So I'm going to get the package to show you what it looks like so you can look up the correct product. Okay, so this is what they are. I call them wobblers. This says Action Wobbles Mini Action Springs. They've already got the sticky adhesive on them, and they allow you to wobble things. Now these are mini ones. You can get bigger ones, so make sure you get the right size. This package has 48 in there, And you can, I think, buy them in smaller packs, like 5 or 6. But it's cheaper to buy them in the larger pack. And as I said, I'm preparing for a big craft event. So having a lot is what I need. In New Zealand, I purchased those from the Ribbon Rose, which is in Auckland. And if you're not anywhere near Auckland, don't worry, they do have a website. So you can go to their website and find them and order them and have them shipped to you. Outside New Zealand, just look it up. I think they're on Amazon or somewhere like that. I'm not sure, but you can just look them up now that you know what they are. So they're a little plastic springy thing. Now, I know there's some videos, people making their own with wire, twisting wire. I've done that before. I've tried it. I have trouble keeping the wire in place. It pulls out easily, but that's just me. And this is just the easiest option. So it's up to you. You make your own or you can purchase them. Okay, so let's put our project together. So now that we have our stage with our spotlight, we're going to stick that one down. And when I'm doing things that like are square or rectangular, and it doesn't matter too much about placement, I don't have to be too precise, I like to use tear and tape. And I use the tab method. It makes it so if I do put something crooked, I can pull it up easier to readjust it. So I just pull up a tab from each corner, and then when I go to put it down, it's only stuck down on that little section. So if I find I've got it crooked, I can pull it up easily and readjust it. But when I'm happy with it, I just pull the paper off the back. Okay, so make sure you put it down the way you want the spotlight to go. So don't put it, wrong way around. This is going to go up in this corner. Now don't worry too much about having too much space on either side, because it's going to be partially covered by your curtains. So it just fits up that corner, and it does stick down a bit at the bottom, which is fine because the other designer series paper will cover the bottom. And once I'm happy with it, I just push on the part that I know the adhesive has been peeled off to hold it in place. And then if I didn't like that, I could pull it up easily because I've only got a little bit stuck down. So see, I can pull that up easily. But if I'd had it pulled off completely, it'd be stuck down and I might have trouble. So when I'm happy with that, then I just pull the paper away and press down to secure it in place. It's as simple as that. Tab method. I learned this probably 25 years ago from some other craft class I went to, and it's great. Now, another little tip I have for you. Oh, let's put this designer series paper down. I'm going to pop it there. I think it kind of looks like the back of seats, like the audience looking at watching the stage. That's why I chose that paper for that section of it, but you can put any paper down. You could even stamp at the bottom, I guess, if you want. So this one, because it's so skinny, I didn't put a piece across the side. And this one's going to go further across, and I'm just going to try to give me even color spacing around, showing on either side, because again, the curtains are going to cover that part. So put this down, pull the paper out. Now I can put my curtains in place. Let's put some glue on that. So just watch out when you're gluing, because it does have slits. So you don't want to glue right over the slit and get it oozing everywhere. Just right between the slits is sufficient. Just enough to hold it in place. My glue is being very generous today. And make sure you put the correct one on the correct side. So I'm going to pop this one down. over to the side, and it's just going to cover up some of that. And then before I give it a good press, I want to make sure I get my other curtain down, see if they're looking even. Because with glue, I can wiggle it into place if I'm not happy with the way it's looking. Okay. So I'll pop that one down as well. Not worried about the space on the top because that's going to be covered. I'm just trying to make the bottoms even and the space on the sides even. So that looks pretty good. I think I need that one down a bit. Okay. When you're happy with that, just press it in place. Okay, now this top bit here, the best way to attach that is put glue on either flat end and then just a little glue on the little mounts that are sticking up. So glue on the that flat, and then 1, 2, 3 mountains, and glue on that flat part. And so when you first put it down, put your flat parts down where you want them to be. So I'm just putting them over either side of the curtains. And then use a bone folder to push the center one down, and then just hold it down for a second or two, and then you can slowly push one of the sides over to make it about the even height. Hold it down, and then slowly slide the other one over until it looks about even, and hold it down. See? So that gives us some depth. So you got a bit of depth there. That's why you wouldn't be able to mail this like that. If you want to mail it, just do it flat and cut off the extra bits that you don't need. I'm going to add a couple pearls to decorate it with. And that's kind of, to me, it looks like it's the edge or the holder of the top of the curtains. You know how they would have something to screw it in to the wall. So pop one there, and then pop a pearl on that side. I don't think it needs a lot more. Okay. Oh, I had one pearl come off on my finger. One of them trying to get away. Thinks I need more. So that's our stage ready. Now we're going to put the bit in there. So we've got our musical notes here, and I never know which way goes which. But if you've got the embossing folder, I'll share with you. So there's the embossing folder. You emboss it. It looks like it can go either way around. Normally you'd probably think, oh, going this way with the words, this is the right way up. But actually, that's the right way up. And the way I can tell, not that I can read music, but there are numbers. And I can tell upside down numbers when I see them. So I can't read music, but I can see there's a 2 and a 4. So that's the way it should be read, not that way. And just to show you in the image, let's see, can I focus it? There we go. So that's a 2 and a 4 there, and there's a 2 and a 4 there. So that is the correct direction. But when you put it through your machine, you definitely put the folded side through first. So if you're concerned about whether the music is upright or not, and you have embossed that part of it, you can actually look to see if you see the numbers. And so I can see there's a 2 and a 4 right there, so I know that's the way up. But most people probably wouldn't even notice or care, so do it whatever way you want. Now, some people have trouble sticking vellum down. You could use your double-sided tape, your tear and tape. You could use some glue dots. That's what some people do if you strategically put it where it's not going to be seen. But because this is a big piece and there's nothing really covering it up much, the other tip is use the other side of your Tombow. The fat, skinny side, a lot of people don't even use that. So if you turn it over and squish it, hopefully I can get some glue out. I haven't used this one. This one's almost used up. I think I'm going to have to get a fresh one. Let me get a fresh Tombow, and that'll be easier to show you. Okay, so with a fresh Tombow, the fat end, it actually has a bit of a slope to it, and it's good for spreading glue. So just get a bit of glue on there. So once you get some glue on there, just then spread it. Don't keep squishing. Just squish a little to get the glue out, but then just use the spreading, the scraped part, the slanted part rather, just to spread that glue around. And you will find that on your vellum, it kind of disappears once you stick it down because it's spread thinly. You don't really notice it. So now once you got that on there, open your card up, and you want it to go into this section here. So turn it around, see if you can remember which way up we go. I think that was the way up. And then it should fit just within that area there. So if you scored and cut it correctly, your 5.5 by 6.5 piece of vellum should fit nicely in there. And you just want to give it a gentle rub. You don't want to go over this with your bone folder because you don't want to press down your pretty image. But now, when you look at it, it's not that noticeable where the glue was. Just use your finger to rub it in place, and the glue is hardly noticeable. Okay, so back to the rest of the decorating. I'm going to put some dimensionals just at the bottom of this piece here. So it's just going to hold on to the top of our vellum there. So I'm just going to put a couple mini ones down at the bottom. Hopefully that's the bottom. That is the bottom. So I've got this set up so it looks like those are the words that our turtle is singing. So just make sure I turn it over and make sure it's not going to stick over the edge. There we go. So that just pops that up, and then we can pop our turtle down. Now I'm just going to glue him down, otherwise you get too many layers, and if you do want to mail it, it's never going to fit. But make sure you only glue the bottom of him. You don't want to glue him onto the other side. So just down by his feet. A little bit of glue down there. Pop him down enough so you can see the words. And he's serenading our beautiful cheetah. So now, with our cheetah, before I put the cheetah on, I should have done this before. I don't want to squish the front because I've got that part. So I'm going to put the balloons on. So I'm going to put the balloons on this side because it's just too much yellow there. And I'm going to do the balloons so they kind of overlap each other. So just a little bit of glue on the center of the balloon. And just one there. And then put a little bit on this balloon. And just have them kind of going over each other. And then you can use one of the pencils to just draw a little line Like that's the string coming through the balloon. Okay. You got your little balloons floating in the background. So that just adds a little pop of color on the back. Now to our cheetah. So with the wobblers, you got one soft, like see-through side, and then you have one really hard side. Now the hard side is to go onto your card, and the soft side is to go on the back. Wait, say it the other way around. The hard side is to go on the back of your character, and the soft side that's see-through goes on your card, so it's not that noticeable. And the hard side will give a bit of structure to whatever you stick it on, so you just peel it up. If you're having trouble with that, just get your pick a tool out to stab it. And then I find it easier to hold the plasticky side and then choose where to place it. Now, that's where you have to make sure you get the right size. If I got the big ones, it would never fit. And I'm actually going to place this sideways because the die cut fits better. It fits in there better than if I tried to place it the other way around. Then when you're done with that, you can flex the other part and just peel up the bit. So there's two sides. You can even peel the center up, but the center part doesn't matter so much. Just peel either side, and that leaves sticky. And then holding, so now the sticky's off, holding the piece you want, decide where you want it to be. So I want the cheetah to be on the stage, but I want her to be centered and not below the curtains. So once you figure out, I find holding the bottom, which isn't stuck where you want it, then you can adjust it and then press down to stick it into place. And there we go. Our wobbly cheetah. So that's it. That's the card done. So we got our sidestep card with our Zany Zoo characters. You could do it with any other characters if you want. You could maybe make it a concert and have some of the musical ones in there. Anything you'd like. So that's showing you how to use the paper, and that's the back. So you've got room there to write your message on the back and the front. And if you were to post this, that folds nice and flat for posting, but as I said, I wouldn't pop that up. I'd leave that straight across the top, and then you'd be able to post that because it doesn't stick up too far. So I hope you enjoyed that. I will, as I said before, I will have the products in the description below, so if you want to order any of them. So that's the one we did just now. That's the other one I did. And with the coloring, I colored it with the pencils, and to get the different shades, I just colored harder. So that's the pumpkin pie orange on the cheetah, and then I just used the same color, just harder, to give it to the dots. And the same with all the other parts there. So it's not two different colors of orange there, it's one color, just different depth in coloring. So I hope you enjoyed that. Now, other cards I've got on the stage idea, I've got this one here. So again, we got the curtains. This one I did the longer curtain, same idea with it. I just used the die and then die cut a bit more on the edge. And for this one, you pull the sides out, and this one you have a concert going on. So you can look at the top. So this is called a theater fold, but I've added the extra bit with the animals coming out the side. So that's how you would look at it. It would sit on the table like that. And this one does fold flat for posting, except for this part up here. Again, just do the straight along if you don't like that. And there's a part on the back to write your message. So, excuse me. Same idea with the curtains as I did before, but I've got some little characters sticking out the edges. So that's another theater one. And then with the other ones here, I used this one. So for that and the rest of the cards, I fussy cut most of the images out of the designer series paper. So this one, I could die cut the turtle, but the rest of them I fussy cut, but I colored them. So as I showed you before, a lot of them weren't colored in, but I went ahead and added color to all of them. So they've colored them in. So this one, this is a multi-scene card. So we've got that one little peek through there. Then you open it up and you see some more of the scene. This is the forest scene. And then you open it up and you've got even more. And see, here's where I die cut some of those trees to add a bit to the card. Then, don't know if you heard that. That was an alarm going off. So another one where I already die cut, fussy cut everything. So here's the back of the card, so you can write your message. Now those are the little flowers that I showed you the dies for, so you can cut out some of those flowers. And this is what's considered a pop-up card. So you pop it up like that, and it would sit, move this out of the way. So it would sit on the table like this, and of course on the table your view of it would be like that. So I fussy cut, except for my cheetah, I fussy cut all the other characters and colored them from the designer series paper. That's some of the small little flowers there. And then there's that banner. This set also has ribbon in the lemon lime twist and the petal pink colors. And this background paper, I showed you earlier, it was black and white, but I've colored the flowers in. So I've gone and colored a few of the flowers in various colors to match what I ended up cutting out on the cardstock. And then the flowers at the bottom, they had holes, so I just used that, took advantage of that, and just put the ribbon through to give you the flowers at the bottom. And another one. So again, I fussy cut, I die cut the crocodile, but I fussy cut everything out of the paper. That's that same paper I just saw there. This time I colored the background as well. So I colored it all in. That was with my Stampin' blends. So colored it all in along with the flowers to match the flowers that I popped in here with a few pearls on them. This balloon is, clouds are from the, I think it's the Give It a Whirl die. I believe that might be from that die set. But if you have a look, I used some of them, masked some of them in the background, and then sponged the pool party cardstock with pool party, and it gives you the look of some faint clouds. And so when you open this one up, you have that scene, and you can go even further. So again, I've got the flowers. This time I used the ribbon as the stems, and I've got all the characters from that skating wheel one, colored them in. And what I liked about this is if you have a look at some of the paper, there's some images that are going two different directions. So in this case, the bunny was going two different ways in the image, and so I've just stuck it on front and back of the same piece. So you can have the front and the back. Because if you look at the back of any of those, you see the back of the designer series paper. But this one, I sandwiched the bunny on both sides. So you have the bunny going both directions. And then for here, you've got room on the back to write your message. So this time I stamped the raccoon, and I die cut the balloons to cover up the balloons that he actually holds in the stamp. So there's that one. I'm running out of room here. So here's another one. So there's the lovely llama. I die cut the curtain out of that same paper and colored some of the flowers. This is supposed to be a window scene. And then I mentioned before about the dies that do a pot and a table and some flowers. So I did that. Colored the flowers. I die cut them in white and colored them with green and the pink and the purple. And then fussy cut that. And then with this one, if you pull on here, there you go. It's a color changing card. So the color comes into the card there, and I actually stamped some words and some images here. This is from another new stamp set called Crafting with You. So the wool and the basket comes from that set, as well as the words. And I thought it just worked in so perfectly with the llama doing the knitting. So that's that stamp set there. And then you simply slide it in. Now, I might be doing a video on this shortly. I have done videos with the color changing cards a few years ago. Look for the lipsticks and the shoes, and you'll be able to see that. And then I've just put Sending You a Handmade Hug, which again is from the Crafting with You stamp set. Great stamp set. So that's the llama there. And then one final card. This one has some old product in it. It's a mix of old and new. And again, I had fussy cut some of the images and colored them. So here we've got the llama knitting, do something creative every day. We just saw the life is better when you're crafting. This is from an old stamp set. This new stamp set here also comes with some great dies to cut images like that basket there. And again, you recognize the DSP from this zoo set. And then you fold it this way. So I put our goat doing some cooking. And so these images here are from a retired cooking stamp set. Use some of the green to put the goat standing on something. Then you turn it again. That's from the designer series paper. This is from the new stamp set. And that's from one of the old ones. But the words just work perfectly in You Paint My World with Happiness. And then the last part, I had to put the relaxing sloth. And just put the relax and enjoy your day. I die cut some stars and then just colored some black stars within them. And this is one of those pinwheel, I think it's called a tall pinwheel card. So it stands up like this. So it looks like a pinwheel, but it does fold flat and it fits in a proper A6, C6 envelope. It's an A6 card, so it's a normal card size. Let me see if I can show you. So there, it's a normal card size. So it fits in a normal envelope, but when you display it, you pop it up like that, the pinwheel display. So I hope you've enjoyed that. You can see that I've had lots of fun with the Zany Zoo collection, with the papers, with the stamping, with the dies. So much fun you can have with that. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you give it a go. I'd love to hear your comments, and make sure you subscribe so you'll know when I have more videos coming out. Some of these cards here are very similar to ones that I've made in the past. I've definitely made some of the videos with this, and there was a Christmas one with this style here. So as well as I already mentioned the color changing one. So if you want to see how to do any of those type of cards, have a look at my previous videos. If there's anything you'd like me to do, send me a message. You can contact me at michellekritchley.stampinup.net or have a look at my blog. And thank you so much for watching. Have a good night. Bye.